Ke nna Motshabi Moloi, moradi wa Albertina, Mama Chona le Joseph Mbutana Moloi. Ke le lekgolokwe le hlaba kotswana, le hlaba kgoho ka lemao ka sebonong, le hlaba le isa kgorong ha makgwakgwane. Makgwakgwane a eja a e halala, a re kgutla hape o e eketsa, motho wa wetsi.
Welcome to the Journey with Mpo podcast, a sacred space for healing, love, and rediscovering your life purpose. Introducing your host, Mpo.
All right. Okay, so let's do our mic check. I thought I'd ask you, since it's Mental Health Awareness Month, what does mental health mean to you?
Yo, it means everything. It means a lot. I am where I am right now as we're speaking, purely because I'm managing my mental state. So I think just being aware that you have a mental state that you need to treat and look after is very important for me. So this month is quite an important month where we can get to share that information with people. So it's crucial. State of mind is everything. Serenity is everything.
Okay. Hello, Journey with Mpo friends and family. Before we get started with today's episode, I just have a housekeeping note to share. So here goes. It may feel like we did not release an episode on Sunday, April 25th. And that is partially true in the sense that we re-released to the larger audience an episode that was initially only available for Patreon members or by purchasing it on Podbean. If you follow us on Instagram, then you must have seen that as my token of gratitude to you, I made season 1, episode 33, available to you via Apple Podcasts and on our website, journeywithmport.com. This is my thank you for the support, feedback, and encouragement you have shown me as an artist, content creator, and friend. Your faith in my ability to be a custodian for uncensored storytelling has always made this show, and continues to make it, the magical wonder it is today. I hope you enjoy the birthday swell bonus episode brought to you by yours truly and my knight in always shining armor, Husband. Okay, so enough about me being in my feels. Let's get started with today's episode. Thank you for joining us as we continue part 2 of our conversation with Lunga Ndlovu, father of 3, co-founder of the nonprofit organization Right Abuse, and the director of Brave Works Concepts. If you missed the first part of our conversation, no worries. Simply go back to episode 7 and start your journey with us from there. Good morning, Lunga.
Good morning. I had to unmute myself there. Good morning. Good morning to you and everybody.
The virtual world.
Yeah, like you always gotta make sure, because I've seen some things trending there of people caught literally with their pants down. So, and cameras are on Zoom, made things very interesting at the board members meeting. So you always need to be careful, and especially because I'm in South Africa. It's very early in the morning, so I need to make sure that one is uppity up.
Okay, so ever since we last connected, so much has happened in terms of the 24-hour cycling event. What's going on? Give us an update.
Yeah. In the words of my former personal coach, trainer, he says that I wrote a check with my mouth that my body was not ready to cash in. So soon after I came back from Cape Town, early second week of January. after cycling for 42 days, 3,200 kilometers. So my body was really had already taken a toll. And then soon after, I go
Mm-hmm.
my crazy self, my crazy ass goes and announces that I want to break a world record in April 27th, Freedom Day, which gave me January, February, March, April, like 3 months, and I announced this in Feb, in March. So I had a month to train, and when I went to
Mm-hmm.
go to this gym, to get sponsorship for gym and trainer, they're like, "You wanna do what?" I'm like, "Okay, all right, cool. We're not doubting you. No, 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 no." Because the current world record holder cycled 577.78 kilometers in 24 hours in Australia. Is it
Mm.
Australia or Austria? Yeah.
Okay.
So I need to beat that guy. And the guys are like, no,
Mm.
it can be done. I'm thinking it can be done too. But truth be told, um, after some introspection, uh, I realized, no, it's too much. Um,
Mm.
it's way too much on my body. One, two, I was busy with so many things that are happening.
Mm.
Setting up the organization, getting a board, understanding how I run a board, understanding that as much as there's a board in place doesn't mean that I now sit back, but I drive the vision. I now from being on
Mm.
a bicycle to managing and leading professionals, like the board members are successful in the chosen field, and now they sitting and waiting for
Mm.
me to give them direction. I kind of sat back and think, okay, you guys,
Mm.
I've given you this, now you're the board, run with it. No, I still need to be there. So many
Mm.
things, and personally, many things were hitting me too. I didn't realize that I'm jumping into an elite sports field now. I kind of
Mm.
assumed that Lunga's deserving of this accolade, maybe, or this title or this claim, just because I cycled to Cape Town, or just because I've been on my own for so long. Now I want to be seen having achieved something of value, so I need to compete or I need to do something great. So I had to check my ego. Um, so that's what's
Mm.
up with the world 24 hours cycle. And the question you asked is very loaded for me because it's so many things that went on to doing this thing. And I had to kind of really sit down and
Mm.
really think and ask myself, why I'm doing it, and what is it that I'm trying to achieve. And thanks to you, and I was
Mm.
following your 30 days, I think it was 30 days of gratitude. Um, Yeah,
Mm.
some awesome stuff though, and some awesome pictures too. Well done to your team. Um, yeah, that reminded me, Uguti, um, over and above all these things, sponsors and you know, progressing. Because like, look, all the things that are happening
Mm.
are beautiful because progression, and I prayed for it, and I've set an intention for it,
Mhm.
and I'm learning that
Mhm.
to do certain things, you need to follow certain steps, and take it
Mm.
one day at a time, and always remember to be grateful. Like for me, I'm on day 4.
Hmm.
Uh, Yesterday was day 3, and it was gratitude. Funny, I
Mm.
woke up in the morning and, excuse me, these themes kind of come. Um, and as
Mm.
soon as I said gratitude, I got dropped by my gym sponsor.
Yeah.
I lost my personal trainer um just this past week, dealing with a lot of things, personally.
Mm.
um so I'm laughing because I choose gratitude, but I'm surrounded by so many things hitting me right now. And
Mhm.
that was the beauty of it, that it kind of moved away all the other nonsense, and I was left to just with my bicycle. That's why I'm here, to train and cycle.
Mm.
And that's why I was so adamant in us having our conversation this morning. Because because what one does is go into isolation when things kind of go upside down, and it doesn't make sense for one to do that. Bravery doesn't really exist in isolation. So here I am on the road to redemption.
Definitely glad to have you back and to have the backstory on that. Just to speak to a point that you just brought up, I was doing a meditation course on emotions. And in one of the sessions, the guy says when people do this course, they feel like they are more emotional. They're more angry, more anxious. But it isn't necessarily that you are more emotional. It's more so that you are now aware of your emotions than you previously were
Mm,
before, which makes it seem like it's increasing, but it's actually just the awareness that has been turned
yeah.
on. And I think it goes for the same with gratitude. Like there were moments where I had to look deep within myself and say, what am I really grateful for? And is this something that I can be grateful for the sake of completing my gratitude challenge or for the sake of truly being grateful? And
Mm,
you have to dig
yeah.
deep,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that doesn't mean it's like when you stop going to church and then you go to church again and all of a sudden the demons are rushing
Yeah.
back to you and you're like, okay, maybe when I wasn't going to church things were fine.
Yeah. I feel you. Yeah.
No,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's my mom and I reference that a lot because we had like on and off moments with church
Mm,
where we would go and things would get worse, but if we laid off things were seemingly
yeah.
okay. It's not necessarily that things are worse off, it's just that now you're becoming more and more aware of how intentional and how focused that gratitude needs to
Mm.
be, and how sometimes you're going to have to pull it out of the bag. Like
Oh,
sometimes
and
things are getting thrown at
yeah.
you that are tempting you to be not so grateful.
Mm,
And so you've placed yourself in this weekly, monthly, whatever challenge to be grateful. Now you've got to dig
yeah.
deep, and it's going to be a challenge, and that's why it's
Yeah.
called a challenge.
That is so true. It is so true. It also kind of goes back to this. Also, when I was doing my meditation, I'm trying to remember this gentleman's name. I can't remember his name, but anyway, he was saying that
Mm-hmm.
as we progressing in our awakening or in our enlightenment, whatever path we may be choosing to follow, there will be a resistance at times, and it's like a curtain was closed and now a curtain is opening, but you've always seen yourself as the
Mm-hmm.
curtain, so you're like, ow, ow, please don't open, don't stretch me, it hurts. Oh, and you need to then um kind of almost remove yourself and be an observer, and watch the curtain open so that you can welcome the new you. And for me, that was nothing, my low point, because I think you need to be punched in the gut almost. Uh, um, um, it's when
Mm-hmm.
everything that I thought I needed, like for example, I felt like I needed like I needed the gym, I needed this, I needed that. But as soon as that was taken away from me, and as soon as my true intention was questioned, that's why I love and appreciate my personal trainer. And e- even though he's not training me now, and we had to go our separate ways, but the conversation we had post that, even his wife, like it's like a family. They were like, Lunga, dude, you need to then dig deep and understand that what you're getting into is some like real hardcore stuff. Like, and when because they printed out a document for me in Paul. It's a document on training to cycle. Nah, it's like 40, 50 pages. That's just the first document. And then
Mm-hmm.
there's others that he has sent that I needed to read. Right. Now they're questioning Lunga a month later.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Lunga, like being honest, Lunga just gets on the bike and goes. So now I need to eat certain things. I need to sleep at a particular time. I need to drink water at a particular level every day. And that's what I didn't comprehend. I think also what goes on to adding to what you and your mom always say with you on and off at church, more humble when you leave church, it feels like the demons and things come back at you. No, it's like now you are aware now. You're in the game now. You're in the battlefield now. You're no longer outside. So when it feels that way, it's just your spirit is aware. So now me again now, as
Mm,
I'm training and doing these things, it's like, okay, it means that's
mm,
the old Lunga Leno was before the salvation or before being awakened, would be sleeping or crumbling
mm.
now, but he needs to learn.
Yeah. So it sounds like more so your personal journey started off just as that, a personal road to
Mm.
redemption. And now we're at a transition point where you're moving from being just a regular cyclist to a businessman forward slash elite cyclist who now needs to prepare and have specific business acumen and run your brand as some sort of business that you have. And so you're in between being jobless and probably owning a business that doesn't make you so much profit, but you're having to invest both mental, physical, emotional time, and then still be financially available to support your
Yeah.
kids. So it's a big
Yeah.
transition. No.
Yeah, yo, and you put it so well. Actually, yeah, it is, and it's quite frustrating at times because I had a conversation with my mentor, I think 2 weeks ago, and he was like saying to me, "Lunga, you may need to face the reality, bro. You may need to perhaps park the cycling, get a job,
Mm,
and look after the kids and everything like that." You know, oof, that hit me hard.
mm,
And he's very right. So, I mean, one is looking for the job, of course, applying and so on, putting himself out there. I had a interview
mm,
with Amazon. Hopefully they. Anyway, so
mm,
that was something that was pulling me down. Was a negative pull, but then for me to flip it and make it and move into a
mm,
positive, I started looking at it in the way you just put it now. That look, if I take my stuff seriously, surely I can be able to transform this and turn it into a business because then I'll be seen as that athlete. And at the same time, as I'm building myself towards that, there's a time a gap there where
mm,
my kids and myself need to survive. So I need to then hustle or look for work, do whatever it takes. If I need to go for career
mm,
counseling, and perhaps maybe channel my energies towards this field in which I want so strongly want to be in, and then bring money for my
mm,
kids. That's the one. And there's another one also, Paul, I think, which uh makes it hard for one to express or for one to throw themselves out there. I say makes it hard purely because my focus has always been from the negative side. But okay, I don't have. I'm looking from a lack. So
mm,
once all these things were taken away from me, because there are times when I'm in the gym, there are moments where I'm looking at the guys who are training. They've got all the gear, they've got all the things that I don't have those. Or when I go cycling with other dudes, because to compete in cycling, I need to be able to cycle with other guys and be in that space. I'm a loner, so if I'm cycling with stuff and my socks don't match, it's okay. Or I've got holes in this, it's fine. So now there's that element
yeah.
too. I know it's sometimes a bit petty, but it also allows me to focus more. So I turn that into
Mm,
into energy to help me. Um, so I'm looking to learn as much as I can. So I'm researching now. I'm trying to meet up with cycling people, so that
mm,
before all of this, all I had was just that bike and that idea and that dream. So um, I still
mm,
need to make it um, live inside of me, but at the same time, I need to be realistic. So that balance,
mm,
that's the trick.
yeah. You've raised so many good points about what's working for you right now on an emotional and physical level to move you out of survival into thriving mode. You know, um, I think what works for me is realizing how far back I may have been 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Like it doesn't feel like you've made much progress in terms of your peers and where you're at now for instance, with podcasting, right? Like, this may not be the world's first podcast or featured in magazines with interviews and tours and stuff, but coming from where I came from as a self-taught podcaster 2 years ago, not knowing anything about podcasting, this
Yeah.
is progress that we've made, and this is seeds that we've planted into the ground, and now they're starting to grow. And sometimes we may be looking at someone's 100-year-old tree up against our seeds that are still in the ground, and we may be discouraged. And so knowing and feeling like it takes so much strength, but to have that reassurance within yourself and say, okay, I'm 10 steps ahead of where I
Yeah.
was last year, 2 years
Yeah.
ago, you know. I'm right now, you're talking on a global platform. Like, sometimes I think about this podcast and there's people in Germany, in
Yeah.
Japan, in all over the world listening. So you're speaking to the global community. And initially,
With
it
that
was just a dream that was with you.
pat on the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
pat yourself on the
Yeah.
back.
Real
Yeah.
quick.
Initially, this was a dream developed on your journey to redemption by yourself on the bike out in the wilderness. And now you've spoken to so many more people and brought that attention. So you're already 10 steps ahead. Dude, it's
Yeah.
work. It's so much work. I'm not even gonna sell you dreams and be like, oh, it gets
Yeah.
better.
Please don't lie to me.
Today I
Yeah.
had to have a conversation with myself and say, you had an online store that you set up. It's been a year. That online store you're paying for, it's digital space that you're paying for. But ever since you've set it up, you've not made a single sale from it. So do you continue to pay for that digital space, or do you shut it down, even though you have this dream to be the connection between African attires and jewelry and the American culture? It's not working out on that space. So could you close it down? And it
Mm.
hurts, because sometimes we have these dreams that we feel so strongly
Yeah.
about, and they don't quite work out in the way we've envisioned them to
Mm.
work out. So for instance, like, a pop-up has been much better than me trying to convince people to go buy something online. I could take my stuff and be somewhere at a market and be like 50 rand,
Mm.
20 rand, 30 rand, and people are like, yeah, we'll
Yeah.
buy.
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know so it's not universe saying no. And we spoke about
Yes.
this yesterday in our conversation too, preparing for this. It's not universe saying no. It's saying, no, there's a different way. I heard what you wanted, but I'm telling you, there's a different way.
Mm. Yes. You see, yeah, what is profound, because after we spoke yesterday preparing, like it that's why I said to you, I'm so grateful for those preparation calls, because it does really kind of set,
Mm,
you know, the mind and everything right. And I was
mm,
asking myself a question, like, okay, if Paul's saying this, all right, then what is the resistance then with me?
mm,
So I'm attached. So then it's an ego thing. I'm more of attached. Like I run it my way.
mm,
It's not that I want this. I just want it
mm,
my way. Like, why couldn't it happen on a sunny day?
mhm,
Why you gotta give it to me in winter?
mm,
Because now all of a sudden
mm,
Lunga now wants to train every day, and it's cold outside. but 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 but
mm.
but there's a certain strength, because if I'm able to push during this hard time when it's nice and easy, uh, I'll be 10 times stronger, because I don't
Mm,
have what everyone else has to push with on that day.
mm.
Um, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. Yo,
Oh,
ego, dude, like, my mom and I spoke about it, and we think that's like nirvana. They speak
mm,
about reaching your highest, happiest, healthiest state. And ego seems to be the step before nirvana. It comes up. Sometimes you think, I've got it in check,
yeah,
I'm okay. And then it comes up like, do you know who I
exactly.
am?
You're like, wait, whoa.
That do you know who I am is not something that we only just say to other people when we're angry, but it's things that we say to ourselves when we feel like what we want is not being given to us. Like, okay, universe, do you know who I am? I'm going to keep fighting. I'm going to keep going. I want it this way because do you know
Mm,
who I am? And so it's got a dual side to it where it's an internal conflict with you, but it's also a physical conflict with everyone else in the world, trying to show people, trying to prove people wrong, and then trying to kill off stories that we've told ourselves. In the past episode, we spoke about stories that we've told
Yeah.
ourselves. They're also ego driven. Like, this is who I am, this is where I came from, and this is what
Yeah.
I've done.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do we not be those people? How do we show up without those stories? I walk into spaces and I'm skeptical to tell people who I am, what I do, and where I work because,
Mm, mm,
every virtual space is like, introduce
yeah.
yourself. But why does it
Mm,
matter? I'm here now. I'm going to offer in the space whoever I am now. Whatever I've done in the past may have not come with me. I may not be the same
mm.
person, so I'm here now, open as me.
That's
It's
it's
interesting.
very interesting because as you're talking now, I'm reciting this situation I was in the other day, meeting some guy, and we were
Mm-hmm.
talking, and of course, obviously, yeah. So what do you do? And who are you?
Mm-hmm.
And the things I was the one asking these questions, and as I'm asking them, I'm like, wait a minute, he's gonna ask me the same question, this dude, and what am I gonna say? Right. So I'm preparing myself now. He
Mm-hmm.
asks, and I'm like, yeah, I'm a cyclist. And immediately I start going to my highest achievement. I cycled so many kilometers. And as I'm saying these things to him, I'm like, okay, dude. Uh, Even afterwards, I'm like, but you don't even feel like I felt like
Mm-hmm.
it's not a lie. These are the things I've done. But like, why? Was the intention to come across and seem like a hero? I've done all these things and then get that slap. Oh, man, oh wow, really? At times, yes. And then I ask
Mm-hmm.
myself, why do I want that? And I keep asking myself these questions, and I'm like, no, I want it because it makes me feel good. And for the bangas, they must know me. You see me,
Mm-hmm.
you heard about me, man.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Mm-hmm.
And I kept asking these whys until I got to a space where I'm like, okay, it's because Lunga's always Latin wanting to be seen. Why does Lunga want to be seen all the time? It's because he's felt he's never been seen before. Okay, by who? Who is he looking to be seen by? And I got to get to the part to say, oh, my dad, my mom, and then that's the part where what you said, where we need to sit back and kind of look at how far we've come. That's when it hit me to say, but dude, you are speaking with your dad. You guys are fine. You are also just speaking and working on certain business ideas because before he went to jail, he's an accountant, chartered accountant. He can't get work because of his what do you call this thing, criminal record. But you and him are talking about going back home, the land, like so. Okay, so you don't need that. You don't need that anymore, do you? No, I don't. Okay, sharp. What else gives the ego life? And then I question it again. Why is it that when something like this happens, why did you feel the need to announce that you want to break a world record? Even though you knew you're not ready, you didn't have all the things there. And then it's like, okay, no, because I wanted to be maybe the first one to go and say it. Okay, why? All that. I kind of went down to it, questioning why, and then it came down to say, no, I feel like I'm not actually being seen or recognized in cycling, or I'm not having the bells and whistles, or I'm not being honored that way. Okay, why do you want to be honored for it? No, because I've done amazing things for it. Okay, who owes you this? At some point I was like, no, right abuse owes me this thing. My nonprofit organization owes me something, or the people, or someone. Oh, okay, sharp. And then it kept went going on, yeah. And then I got to a place where I'm like, okay, this is where now I'm where I at now to say, does anybody really owe you anything, Val? Did you start with someone with owing you something, or when you started was it not you and the bike and this reason? Now I'm back and it's me and the bike. And to say, now that I've undressed myself, painful process to undress myself, but after I've undressed myself, I was able to say, yes, I can be an elite sportsman. I want to be. I have all the things that I need, all the resources I need inside of me first. And then all other things will then come to me. I don't know which famous guy or author or someone wrote this thing. They say that no matter where you are, no matter where you might be in a bush somewhere up in a mountain, As long as you exuding and expressing who you really are, the world will make a path to find you, because it wants to connect with that. You know, that's when I released all my stresses about my financial lack or my anything like that. It is true, but what can I do about it right now? You know, I can do something about it, sure, but negative, but it won't help me. And sharp, I've got kids. What can I do? Okay, you know, we have. I'm out there trying to also understand my own message for gender-based violence. What am I trying to do in the scourge? What kind of tangible help can I help in that space, or in drug rehabilitation, or in so on, in business, in whatever? I need to be able to clarify that too, and it's all coming very nicely. Yeah.
Phew. You raised so many good points. Um, I think what I summarized from your journey of questioning your ego is, who am I doing this for? You know, who am I breaking this world record for? Is it so every time I introduce myself in spaces, this record can speak for me and be the best thing that I've ever done with my life? Am I doing this so that I can always say I did this? Am I doing this to feed a part of me that still feels like there's more I need to do? Who am I doing this for? And it reminds me of a conversation my college principal once brought up. And he said, it was the first year, and he's like, you guys are excited, just came out of high school and gumnandi.
Mm,
But I want to tell you that Kunzima,
yeah.
50% of you are not going to be
Yeah.
at graduation. And that's a fact. And we thought he was
Yeah,
negative. We were just
what a
like, oh my
Grinch.
God, you're so
Yeah.
negative.
What a douche.
Holy.
Like, like,
It was true.
hmm,
Like maybe 12 people out of a class, 40 made it. And he said the thing that's going to keep you going when the lights turn off and it gets really dark in these rooms and you're sitting by yourself with yourself is, why are you doing this? For
hmm,
who are you doing
hmm.
this for? And that's the only thing. Like if you write that story to yourself now and you go back and you read it every time the lights are off, I can guarantee you that you'll be at graduation. And sometimes, I'd sit studying for those exams and I'd be like, okay, who am I doing this
Yeah.
for? And who am I doing this for cannot be about your parents or wanting to impress
Yeah.
those that we have attached ourselves to. It has to be an internal journey about
Yes.
you. It has to be something very deep on the inside of you. And if you don't find that thing, you're not going to keep doing whatever it is you're doing when the lights turn
Yes.
off. You won't have the strength. You won't have the emotional and physical and mental capacity to keep pushing
Yeah.
forward. So,
Yeah.
so interesting.
You know,
So
Paul,
interesting.
as you're speaking, I don't know if you noticed, I'm trying to make a note. I was looking for a pen. I wanted to write something down that, you know, where I'm at now, as my head, as you talking, I'm like, okay, why? Why am I doing? I'm not doing this now because I'm carrying some emotional baggage that I want to. I've left the sadness there now. Like part one of our conversation was
Mm,
really about, you know, I remember what the clip that
mm,
I keep sharing it. It's so awesome. Like, well done on cutting it right
mm.
there, the minute. So I keep playing it. Before, I used to be part of someone else's narrative, someone else's story. Now I'm rewriting my own story.
Mm,
And this is the part of the story where
mm,
I'm doing this because I just genuinely I love it. I just love being on a bicycle, and I
mm,
genuinely believe I'm really good. I genuinely believe I'm strong. I
mm,
genuinely believe I can do it. So it's my
mm,
reasoning now is that, because I remember when I was preparing for
mm,
Cape Town. No, no, not Cape Town. The year before, I wanted to cycle across 7 African countries, and leading up to a week, my spirit was like, it's not like there's that. I don't know how to explain it, but there's like the little energy. There's some bunny or some dude inside of me that does something, and I know that we okay. we're going, we're on. There's some crazy dude inside of me, seriously.
Mm.
So this guy, so this,
He's the
yeah, he's the
cyclist.
cyclist. So this crazy dude is acting awkward. I'm like, what's going on? And I'm emotional, and I'm like, because for once in that period in my life, I was fairly happy. I think it was soon after I get out of rehab, yeah. And I'm praying. I'm like, God, what will drive me to finish this ride at this time? Because I don't have that darkness and that sadness that I had before that
Mm-hmm.
pushed me
Mm-hmm.
across 4 African countries. Now it's like
Mm-hmm.
I'm happy. Like I don't think this happy feeling I'm feeling is enough to take me through this because it gets rough on the road. I'm like, oh God, why am I'm so happy
Mm-hmm.
and about flowers and all these nice things. I'm not gonna make it. I need that beast. I need that monster inside of me to awaken. So I was worried I was not gonna finish. And indeed I didn't finish. And then last year it was he came, like, but it was not like angry, but it was something else. I couldn't explain it. That's why I was able to go
Mm-hmm.
for 42 days. And when I came back, I realized I was in rehab for 42 days. My rehab stay was 42 days. And I cycled for 42 days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wait, what's going on? Anyway, let's park that.
Mm-hmm.
I saw you doing something about numbers. That's why I'm so fascinated about what's happening. I need to know.
I just did the mathematics in my head. I was like, oh, yeah, 42 days, number six. But okay, go ahead.
Okay, you tell me later. I don't know what that means. Okay, my mind wants to know so bad. So yeah, and now, okay, I lost my point. But the point I was making that now, what's driving me is I just love this thing, and it's that I can really do it. I think before was more of
Mm,
excuses, either was the ego or the excuses that I'm doing it for someone else or doing this, this is what I just want to wake up and do this. It's like this is what I really
mm,
want to do, and I'm
mm.
starting to realize that it's not as easy as it looked. With you wake up and do what you love. Nah, hey, nope, nope, nope.
It can be. Initially,
No,
it's
yeah,
not. It can be. Um, so let me shift our
cool.
conversation a little bit here before we come up on the top of the hour. So, one thing that I was thinking about from our previous conversation that we hadn't quite touched on was you have done presentations in different spaces for different people
Yeah.
regarding gender based violence. And in the audience, sometimes there's been victims and sometimes there's been perpetrators. How are those public discussions different from the discussions that you may have with friends or family who are experiencing gender based violence or are perpetrators of gender based violence?
Um, I think it becomes it's very different in the sense that um people at home or people perhaps close to me, around me,
Mm,
um it's like it's more like it's social, and then
mm,
I think that's the challenge, or that's the problem, which we'll kind of talk about in a minute. And when I'm speaking on
mm,
stages and platforms, people, the audience who's already there, already tuned themselves into, okay, this is what we're going to be discussing. It's
mm.
like, you're really going to a baby shower, or you won't come there with bottles of whiskey and cigar, but you come with the right apparent things. I think that's fundamentally
Mhm,
the difference. One, two, I think the other difference is that we're still viewing these issues as separate from ourselves, as separate from an individual, or from humanity. And
mm,
we give it these titles that distance it: gender-based violence. It's like it's over there. um, and yet that's why my organization says that abuse stops with me. Oh wow, okay, there the penny
mm.
drops. My tagline says abuse stops with me, so it needs to be a
Yeah.
personal thing that comes from within. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, people around me find it a bit difficult, and I think it's even difficult for me too, because there's some things that maybe I could see, or and I would want to some degree offer help or maybe even aid or something like that, but you really don't want to kind of infringe on people in a certain way. However, I do make it known that
Mm-hmm.
this is something that I do, and we can help. Um, for example, with what I'm doing, and we spoke about this off air a little bit. I want to touch on it just a little bit
Mm-hmm.
too. Is that we are not immune to these things that happen, and when it happens close to home, it kind of puts things into perspective. Because I am also in a home environment where there are women, and we are also in a community, larger environment around me. Friends, associates, and so on may experience these kinds of things,
Mm-hmm.
and it becomes hard then. For example, if something is happening, for someone to come to me, and if they are unable to, I'll always try and make sure and make it aware that I can refer them to people whom they can speak to, or address, because it's a very
Mm-hmm.
complex situation, and I think you tend to appreciate it more when it happens close to home. um, um, you know. And growing up, we always see how the treatment of women and how the treatment of men by women, and the treatment of kids by both men and women. Sometimes we excuse a lot of things, and we take things as no, kukanje, it's how it is. So that's the challenge. It's like that. But however, I always try and make sure that it's known. Like I want I even in my family, my home, in that space, when it does happen, I need to step up, as like in my capacity as a child of at home, as the elder, one of the eldest kids, and also as a life coach and as a counselor, and as someone who advocates against something like this. I need to be impartial and objective when I come to it. It's hard, especially if it's close to home. It's really hard. I think it makes it better for the cause too. I feel it makes it really authentic and real, because now I'm not just speaking about something that's out there. It
Mm-hmm.
really fit, like it tangibly impacts on the people I care about directly.
Yeah. I think I'm trying to avoid using the word
Mm,
easier, but I do think it's far more relatable to have someone speak on an experience that they've had rather than an experience that they've studied. I think whether victim or perpetrator, one is more inclined to listen to someone who has had the experience rather than someone who has not. Like sometimes when you're sitting in said therapist's room and they're trying to give you advice, you can't help but wonder, but chief, have
yeah.
you been through some of these things? Are you just giving me textbook answers?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna go home and try this and it's not
Yeah,
gonna work because I'm telling you I've tried it before.
Yeah, true. I hear you.
Maybe I'm the only one who judges my
No, you're not.
therapist. Sorry.
Mm-mm. I'm always there. I'm like, this man sitting there, don't know nothing about no drugs. Out here telling me, no, just use your willpower. What? Why am I here with you then?
Have you ever been
No.
high and try to
Yeah.
combine willpower with
Like,
highness?
come on, dude. Why am I sitting here with you?
Yeah, I do think that's more what I seek for when I look for mentors and people that I say, okay, I can follow this person or I can understand this person. It's like, you have been through this, you have experience with
Mm,
this. Um, Final question is more about modern society and what we teach our children, right? So there's always conversations about, do we talk about sexual orientation with our kids, like being gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgendered, whatever the case is? At what age should kids start being introduced to that? Because it looks like more and more younger kids are becoming aware earlier on that they are gay or not gay or whatever the
Yeah.
case may be, right? When it comes to the conversation of gender based violence and gender based abuse, when do you think is like the right time to have those conversations with children? Should it be in high school? Should they be still like in primary school? Or where should we be catching them as an education point?
Yeah. I feel catch them young. When I say young, I
Mm,
mean let's break it down for a second. Like we need to break down what gender is, and then look at what when you say gender-based violence. When we say what is that? Um, I think we need to
mm,
kind of come at it in that approach when you speak to the kids, because you'd be surprised how
mm,
magic these young people are, and how smart they are and intelligent they are. They already see it. They already
mm,
we already communicate certain certain prejudice or certain things that we do, especially when we start teaching them about their body parts and how they need to respect that, and how Susan can't play no tabo like at a certain age.
mm,
That also how we address those kind of things really kind of impacts how the kids kind of relate to other genders. So I mean, I got a mix of both
mm,
boys and girls. So using my own practical
mm,
example of how we can avert perpetrating gender-based violence in the young ones is teaching them that to honor and respect themselves, understand who they are, and honor and understand who a woman, especially for the boys, because I need to break that into their minds quite early that a woman is not a toy or a tool or a means to an ends
mm,
or a number,
mm,
or because there's certain perceptions,
mm,
especially in Ekasi, in the hoods and space, about how we relate to women and treat women. So I move them from the sexual orientation to just understanding human beings. I think that's how we can get the young kids in schools and at home. So I think the best way to do it, and it must be continuous. Excuse me, the conversations. I mean, for example, I'm part of an alumni of my former high school. Um, we got a platform that we are wanting to launch where we talk about mentorship and guiding kids, and where they can ask questions and so on. So that is another way of educating and imparting this, because it's a social issue. The approach needs to come from multi different angles, from classroom, at home, TV, everywhere. Um, and then the last thing is the kids. It's not all about what we say; they watch us.
mm,
You know, they watch us. Like it's really important, especially for if we're gonna have multiple partners, try not to do it in front of them so that they see. Um, trying to teach an old dog new tricks may be harder than trying, than to teach the younger ones the
mm,
right way.
mm,
Because you may teach the kids, no, you must read your books more. But if you're sitting and watching TV, when is a kid gonna read a book? Because they're watching you watch
mm,
TV.
mm.
Yeah. So integrity, I think it starts from there.
Actions speak louder than words.
Yes. Yes,
Yo,
indeed.
such a good point. I always enjoy my time with you. I feel like I walk away from our conversations so much better a person, so motivated to continue the healing journey and to continue this work of speaking to so many different people and learning, because I learn from your story. I connect with the journey in ways that I'm still learning on how to connect with myself. Ego. Why do I struggle with the ego? um, Kids. How do you talk to kids about mental health, about gender based violence? It's always such an enriching
Mm.
experience, whether we are off the mic or on the mic or on statuses,
Yes,
WhatsApp
indeed.
statuses.
Same here. And the female ego too. There's a female ego.
Mm-hmm. Oh no, I can attest to that. I speak so often on that with a
Mm,
lot of my male friends. People will say men are dogs, men do this, and yeah, sure, maybe, but let's have a conversation about women. What are women doing? What's going on in
mm,
female spaces, and how can we? I had a conversation with my friend this morning. How can we, as women in this so-called new generation, hold space for men to be
mm,
and experience mental health, because some of the things we do seem to
mm,
provoke mental health challenges. So how can we cultivate
mm.
healthy spaces for men to be men?
It's a good conversation.
Big
Mm,
conversation. They're not ready. you
indeed.
know
No,
it's
no, 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 no,
easier
no,
to
no.
say men are
Yeah.
dogs and I've been wronged and I've done this, and like with your experience with gender-based violence, there's always victim and perpetrator, and it's not ever quite clear who plays the role. Like, if someone's the perpetrator,
Yeah.
what kind of role are you playing that triggers? And this is, you border the line of potentially victim blaming, but you also have to look at
Mm,
the aspect of what kind of role are you an enabler? you know do you
yeah.
walk away from situations like this? Where are your boundaries? And
Yeah.
taking a deeper look at
Yeah.
that, like taking a step back and saying, in the relationships where I experienced abuse, it wasn't the fact that I was experiencing abuse that was the most hurtful. It's that when
Mm,
I didn't love myself enough to walk away. And that is a
mm.
boundary
Yep.
issue. It's an enabler issue that is within me. And that's a personal journey separate from whatever abuse that I've been
Mm-hmm.
through. It's like, okay, now you've got this person who stays when shit like that happens, doesn't move. Why? Why don't you love yourself
Mm.
enough
Yeah.
to give yourself the things that you think you deserve?
You see, there we go. Now, yeah. Oh God. You see, if we had that kind of thinking when we're approaching these things at national level of government and so
Mm,
on, I think we would have a different direction.
mm,
Because with these things, we sort out blame rather than sort out solution. Because solution means everybody comes to the
mm,
table. Blame means only certain people go to the table of accountability.
mm,
So that's that's the unfortunate side. That's why I'm saying with me, when it started, when it's happening around me, that's when the penny drops to say, so indeed, then that means that for us to indeed kind of solve this issue, we need to kind of go to the human,
mm,
like the human. There's no law, man, that can teach you how to love. There's no law that can teach you how not to hurt and kill yourself and the next person. There's no law that can do that, or jail time.
mm, mm.
All that jail time does is what we're talking about: redemption, or someone going to rehabilitate themselves.
Mm,
Rehabilitation means just returning back to your original form,
mm,
which has been corrupted over time due to whatever, you know.
mm,
So we just all need to just kind of go through our own rehabilitation personally. And I think once we do that, oh man, there's nothing wrong with letting pause shine
mm,
without me infringing on it, because it somehow makes my own one feel dimmer,
mm,
because that's the only issue.
mm,
That's what I understand jealousy to be. I think in closing, I think that's what I understand jealousy to be. I remember I used to be so jealous about some of my friends or colleagues or people whom I used to think I'm better than them. Now they seem to be doing better than me, and I broke down that feeling and that thought, because it interrupted my ability to relate to them as friends, and it just corrupted the friendship. Now, we used to be tight, but now because they have progressed in life, which is a beautiful thing, and as if I'm a friend, I need to be happy, but I'm jealous. Is it because I'm jealous of what he has, or is it because I'm really fundamentally angry and upset at myself, resenting myself for not having taken a step? But because that is too much for me to handle, I project that as jealousy. And I'm like, why you need to buy a rosé bottle for 1,000 rand. You can just buy a cheaper one. You know, you people. It's got nothing to do with that. I'm hating myself. That's why you're so right. It's the just coming into yourself is harder. So I let me lash out. So that's why I had to come face to face and say I can't blame my dad anymore, my mom anymore, my situations anymore, or having this, not having that anymore. No, bruh. For this road of redemption to get to a close where I'm redeemed, I need to take that. And redeeming means money back, nah?
Oh yeah, 7 times fold.
Okay, just check. Just checking. Okay.
I'll tell you about my conversation offline with the universe about money. But what you just said reminded me, I think it's either Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole, I don't remember who says it in their song. And he basically says, I cannot fake humble because you are insecure. You know? And I'm like, oh.
Yes, Kendrick.
Hello.
Yeah.
I got rap songs too. See, I could be a cool kid too.
I see you, Mpo. I'm gonna drop some bars now. Hey, Mpo.
Referencing rappers, feeling so cool. Okay, JWM family, this is Lunga Ndlovu. I can certainly guarantee you that you are not seeing the last of this man on this show, on your TVs, on our social media. Anything he does, we will be in the background sharing information, advocating for that necessary support, and we ourselves too will be putting our money where our mouth is because we are people of action and not words. So if you can do the same, if you have connections or you would like to connect with him, support his journey in any way possible, whether that is through exposure, resources, people, sponsors, anything at this point would be absolutely appreciated, because he has open-heartedly shared his story. He continues to put himself out to the world regardless of what the world is throwing back, and I have a good feeling the universe is about to throw some good stuff to him. So whatever you can do, just reach out to me. I will connect you with him, or look into the episode notes and all the information will be right there for you to connect with him directly. And I love and appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for spending this time with us. And as always, and like I always say, maholo kwe, ke o taba re buile. Aloha.